Hey, what's up, universe? It's 10:04 a.m. Central Time on, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? I forget. It's Tuesday, isn't it? Yeah, Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. So, as I was saying yesterday, I'm going to go ahead and flesh some of the stuff out that I've been vague about. So I'm going to introduce a couple of characters, or at least one character. I'm going to give these people names, so that way I'm not just saying, like the context in which I met this individual. So the gentleman that I met back in like 2014 or 2015 at the BioWell training in New Mexico, his name is Ken. And so I've been talking to Ken over the last few days, and very rapidly things have unfolded at such a clip and such a pace and such a breadth of things that, like, I'm still, it's awe-inspiring. It's awe-inspiring. So I had mentioned to Ken, when we first started talking on October 29th, right? Just a couple days ago. I told him my situation, like, without a house, without a vehicle, working part-time, all this kind of thing. And he's like, well, how can I help you? And I'm like, I don't know how you can help me. Like, my first focus is a car. I was like, but at the same time, I'm not closing myself off to, potentials, because miracles happen. And right after that, he's like, can I call you? And I was like, sure. And he goes, you're not going to believe this. He's like, I have a car for you. And I was like, what? He was like, dude, check out this story. He's like, I've been trying to, like, give this car to my sister because she needs a better car. But she won't take it because it's not the kind of car that she wants. He's like, I literally was just telling my wife that I can't give this car away. He's like, I'll give it to you. He's like, thing is that it's in New Jersey. You'd have to come and get it. And he's like, I also need to talk to my wife, make sure she's cool, with this. He's like, but I have a good feeling that it'll be just fine, And the next morning, so yesterday morning, Ken writes, and he's like, hey, wife says it's okay. You can have the car. Now, that in and of itself is, like, phenomenal and a blessing and awe-inspiring to me. And, like, what? Now, when I say that that's one of a multitude of things that Ken has introduced to my life experience, it's true. That's one thing out of, like, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, probably 3 or 4 other things, where he's like, okay, so you need help with, this, you need help with this, and you need help with this. He's like, all right, well, I got ideas, and, we'll get you taken care of. And I'm like, what? So, again, I'm keeping it vague because not all of these things have happened yet. One of these other things did happen, so I'll tell you about that. So the car, I just need to go to Jersey, pick up the car. Okay. That's in the works. One of the other things was Ken was like, look, he's like, back from our original conversation back in, like, I don't know, April, May, sometime around then, right? The whole reason that we kind of started talking around then was at the company that he works for, they need, somebody to do some IT work around a number of different things. They've got a number of different projects, right? And so Ken's like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit for this. And we started talking back then, but then, like, kind of fell off and didn't hear any more about it, right? Until on the 29th of October when he wrote me back and he's like, hey, he's like, what's going on? And so he's like, all right, look, let's get you talking to, this guy Mike out at my work. He's the guy that's got the projects, and we'll set up like this call, and you'll see the scope of work, and you guys can flesh out what's going to happen. So that was yesterday. Like, Ken was talking about like setting that up. He's like, all right, he's like, are you free at 8:30 Eastern time tomorrow, like, which would be today, for a call? And I was like, yeah, totally. So like in short order, Ken's like, all right, got it all set up. I'll send you the Zoom link. He sent me the Zoom link. Had a call scheduled with the guy Mike, for some work at this company that Ken works at. So 7:30 a.m. today, I have this call, talk to like Mike and Ken for like 45 minutes. Scope of work looks good, all the work is stuff that I've been able to do before and have done before, no problem. And there's going to be more work after that, right? Now, Mike's going to like put it all together for me as far as like official scope of work, and like we still need to negotiate like compensation and all of that kind of stuff. The fact is that in short order, introductions were made. Everybody felt like it was a good fit. Things are lining up, things are unfolding. So yesterday Ken was like, all right, we need to get you out here to get the car. It would be good if you came out here, met the team. Maybe the company will pay for the ticket, for you to fly out here. And the company's got an office or a plant here in Kansas City. So, maybe the ticket might be paid for to go out, meet the team, and then I'll just drive the car back. Now, what's interesting, too, is that my other friend, right, that hit me up on the 29th, and I'll introduce him as well. His name's David from Advanced Biotechnologies. He lives in Pennsylvania. So I'm thinking I might be able to, on my way back from Jersey, hit David up and kind of hang out with him for a day or so on my way back, to Kansas City. So, in just short order, like, these things are unfolding. And, there's more. There's other stuff I haven't said yet because I'm still, like, letting it, like, actually, happen. Which these things in and of itself are already like big deals, and I'm incredibly grateful, and I'm still kind of like dumbfounded, right? He was like, I'll just give you the car. He's like, I could probably sell it for a couple of grand. He's like, but I'll just, whatever. He's like, I'll just give it to you. So, there's another, what's interesting, to go back to some of the other stuff, like as far as, sovereignty and, being a state national or American national kind of a thing. There's another process, right? So there's multiple processes one could partake in to kind of become more sovereign, we'll say, right? And one of those things is traveling without registration and different plates and all of this kind of a thing. And again, I know what this sounds like to people that are unfamiliar with like how the system is set up, but there are legal and lawful and honorable ways to travel without having a registered vehicle, without having like your standard state plates, and things like that. So I'm like, well, now I'm going to be exploring that process, because I know somebody from one of the groups who has done that, and he even got pulled over just the other day, and he was detailing his experience, and the cop didn't give him a ticket, didn't really give him any grief at all. You have to know how to handle yourself, how to know what to say. No, it's an energetic thing. You don't antagonize the system. You don't be. It's not about being standoffish or being like, confrontational. It's just about knowing how it works and knowing what to say, and having your stuff in order. And then and then away you go, you know? And so I'm going to explore that now, because now I'm going to be having a vehicle where I can do that. Like I said, it's all pretty crazy to me. And to me, it's a very real example of, again, miracles. Like, yeah. Again, I don't get hung up on how things look and how life can unfold in dramatic and beautiful ways. That was a completely seemingly random thing. You know, he just hit me up out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, Zach," and we just started talking, and I told him my situation, and then he's like, "I have a car. We're gonna get you an interview. We're gonna get you set up with some work," and it's happening. Like, it's happening. You know, like, what? Like, what? Like, I can't make it. Like, okay. So, November 13th through the 19th, I'm going to take that week off work here. I wrote my supervisor this morning. She's out of town for 2 weeks in training. I was like, weird stuff is happening. I'm going to need to take the time off between like the 13th and the 19th. I'll come back to work on the 20th. I was like, I know that's kind of a big ask, but I really appreciate you working with me on this. She writes back and she's like, no problem. She's like, just put it in, the system, and when I get back, to my room tonight, I'll just approve it, and we'll be good. And so, no grief or hiccups with that, no problem with that. So the universe is supporting that too. So I'll be going out November 13th, maybe the 12th. I'm not sure, like the evening of the 12th, but whatever. So I'll be going out to Jersey and meeting the team and picking up the car, and we're going to see what happens. So I don't know the time frame regarding what I was just talking about with like the plates and like there's the process to be able to get myself set up to travel without plates and registration. There's things that need to be done, obviously. That's why it's called the process. I don't know if I have enough time to complete the process before I acquire the vehicle. So that's kind of the question right now. I'm going to believe that I do, and that everything's going to unfold and be just peachy keen. So that's my update right now, is that those couple of things. And like I said, there's more, and I'm going to just let those things as they manifest. I'll say, look, so this happened. This is one thing that Ken was talking about. Here it is. Here's another thing Ken was talking about. Here it is. So these two things that he's talked about, like, even though I don't have the car to show you, the interview that happened, that's happening. I have no reason to believe that the car wouldn't be happening. I will keep you guys updated. And I just want to say, it's been a handful of videos ago now, but I did say, I was like, I think here in a few weeks things are going to be turning around, and I was like, I just kind of feel it, and it's astrologically supported, and everything it has a process, you know what I mean? Everything has a beginning, middle, and an end, and what I've been going through is no different than that. My current state of affairs is temporary, being homeless, being without a car, it's temporary, and so that's why I don't get hung up on how things look. I don't care how they look. It doesn't matter. It's whatever. Because it's still going to be golden and awesome in the end. You know what I mean? And it just makes me think. I watched a TikTok the other day. This real alchemist guy, this metallurgist, right? He took gold and he basically turned it into dirt. He showed the entire process. He had his blowtorch, the chemicals, he processed it. He turned like a 5-gram bar of gold into what looked like dirt, and then converted it back into gold. And that's what I'm talking about, man. Who gives a shit what it looks like? Who cares? Who cares what it looks like? Because it's going to be gold in the end. You know what I mean? And it's about trusting that process. Trusting the process, man. Faith, surrender, and no doubt. The universe has got it. It's all about how I manage myself as I'm going through it. And that's work. That's what I've always said. I've said that for a long time now, for the last few years as I've been going through and practicing this stuff. The how is not my problem. How is not my problem. How I manage myself is my problem. But like figuring out all the details, not my problem. Not my problem. Managing my fear, managing my doubt, managing my uncertainty, managing my surrender, managing my energy, managing how I am like showing up and participating with the experience, managing how I relate to what my experience is. That's my work. And that's a fuckload of work. Don't let anybody tell you any different. That is a shitload of work. The how is it going to work out? The universe takes care of that. The universe is like, look, if you take care of all that shit, I got you. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. But I'm telling you, that's how it's worked. And I have countless examples of that in my own life. That's how it's been working for me. So that's why I live the way that I live. That's why I live the way that I live. So part of to go back to answer that question, like what's the end goal? The end goal is to reach the gold. It's to harvest the gold. I'm going through some dirt, some shit right now, but there's gold. The end goal, finding that gold, man. It's there. You just got to get to it. So, yeah. So, I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. This is why I do what I do and why I make the choices that I make, because life is fucking magical. It's fucking magical. You know? So, I'm not going to be afraid of life. I'm just going to totally trust that it's going to stay magical, because it's been magical for me for a really long time. Has it sucked? Fuck yeah, man. The work is hard. The work is hard, man. The work is hard. But is it fruitful? Bet your ass. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. So, and that's something that David and I talk about too, you know, like, because he's done a lot of his own work. And he's older than I am, and so he's been on his own journey for a long time. And anybody that goes along this path will tell you it's not easy, but it is absolutely fruitful. So, again, I'm not here to convert anybody, but I'm also not going to take any flack for the choices that I make, because the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding, and I'll show you time and time again. And I've got examples, and I've been documenting it for years. So, I'm just anytime anybody wants to give me flack for it, I'm like, you're not paying any attention to what I'm doing. You know, you're not giving me credit for where it's been successful, which is every time. So I just don't have room for that. You know what I mean? And again, if it's not your path, that's fine. You don't have to make the choices that I make. You know, I'm not asking for people to do what I do or believe what I believe. I'm just not available for people attacking me for it either. You know what I mean? Do what you want to do. Believe what you want to believe. But I have boundaries around taking shit for what works for me. You know, that's all I'm saying. So, all right. Well, that's what I got. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I saw you joined a lot. I appreciate it. Zulia Caesar. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, I'll let you know how the process goes. So I'm curious about that too. Yeah. So opportunity has presented itself to explore that. So we shall see. All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. And again, thank you for being with me. Thanks for journeying with me. And yeah, thanks for being part of the process. All right, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Oops. There we go.